Good day everyone. For today's video, I will present you the ruminant production system made by Group 4. Sir Dario is currently working in a breeding farm and he is assigned in the cattle field. They raise a total of 60 cattle and they have different breeds such like Holstein and Kiewit cross. Most of ages of cattle range from 3 to 4 years old. They are currently focusing on expanding the utility of cow's milk. Also, they are trying to introduce new breeds to produce an increased rate in milk production and dairy products. According to him, natural mating has the highest chances to impregnate the cow. However, artificial insemination is mostly adopted in their field, therefore, there is an increase in breeding cattle. These cattle are mostly used for milk production and dairy products. Their produce is being disseminated on barrios, especially in a place where there is a high record of malnutrition. It is one of the projects of the government, providing free milk and dairy products for bone strength and give source of vitamin D and protein. The productivity of their farm is continuously expanding as well as the coverage for the distribution of their produce. Name of the racer is Dario R. Molina. Location, Cabagan Breeding Station at Balasig, Cabagan, Isabela. Mr. Molina is currently working as one of the animal racer in Cabagan Breeding Station at Balasig, Cabagan, Isabela. They raise different kinds of animals, especially those who provide milk and dairy products. These are the guide questions we asked to Mr. Molina. How many ruminant animals are they raising? 60 cattle, ranging from an age of 3 to 4 years old. The breeds of cattle they raise are Kiwi Cross and Holstein. How they raise their animal? All cattle they raise are being confined as well as with the other animals they raise. For cattle's food, their primary foods are silages and feeds. They consult the veterinarian and they administer the vitamins needed of the cattle as the vet has advised. Vitamin A, B, E for high fertility of the cattle, and calcium for bone strength and increased growth rate. They are complete in all facilities which make a less tendency to have high mortality rate. They have workers assigned in a particular activity in cattle production. Why are they raising ruminant animals in such a manner? Their main purpose in raising cattle is for milk production as well as for dairy production. They produce cow's milk and give their products for free in remote areas, especially in those places that has a high record of malnutrition. This is one of the government's first project they established. What are the problems they have or are facing in the ruminant production system they are using? Mastitis condition is what they encounter, particularly in lactating cows. At the month of December to February, the bones of cattle become weak. Insights based on the interview. Insight from Jupiter C. Mauricio Jr. It seems like Mr. Molina is well experienced in cattle production. I agree when Mr. Molina said that in cattle raising, proper management is a must to make the cattle become productive and prevent from different diseases. And I can say that he knows how to manage properly the cattle within their farm because he mentioned some activity they do like deworming and giving vitamins. The way he did respond and shared his knowledge based on his experience as a racer made me realize that he has the potential to expand cattle production and innovate new ideas to increase the produce of their farm. I also admired the purpose of their production and how they show their kindness in the community, and I hope their effort would have a great result in solving some problems in our community. Insight from Remedios Reyes. From what I have heard on our interview with Mr. Molina, the ages of cattle they raise ranges from 3 to 4 years old. I did imagine how large their whole farm could be when he added that they have a total of 60 cattle. The way he responded gave me satisfaction when he shared his knowledge and experience in raising their cattle, and I could say that he spent the half of his life in working in farm raising cattle and other animals. I became more interested in our conversation, especially when he had mentioned about the purpose of their production. and their purpose is to distribute their produce, milk, and dairy products in different barrios which have the high record of malnutrition. I really got surprised when he added to his response that it is the project of the government to distribute their produce in barrios. Insight from Miss Mona Lisa Vergara rather. Based on the interview we have had with Mr. Molina, provided feeds and silages for cattle is their way to survive. With what I have heard and observed on his response on how they raise their cattle and other animals, I would say that he is a skilled cattle raiser. He also added that cattle could have enough foods and silages to eat every day as well as the water they need to drink. Cattle needs a healthy food for their good health and for good production. It is also essential that they provide their cattle the vitamins to supply the other needs of their body for their growth. The way they provide their cattle a food is a great factor to increase the produce and make their cattle productive. Insight from Miss Daphne May Magaway. In the middle of the interview, I realized that he could expand the production of cattle when he said they do have equipment and machines, and this would be a great help to lighten their work and make more produce. He gave us some ideas of what equipment and machines they use in their production, such as power sprayer, weighing scale, milking machine, and loader dozer. As what I have observed, their farm is almost complete in equipment and machineries in raising cattle and other animals. They have made a further step in cattle production, which can be an advantage for job opportunities and widens the production of their farm. Insight from Mr. Justin Kate Ramirez. Breeding cattle is important to increase their population. Mr. Molina has experience in breeding their cattle. Most process they use in cattle breeding is artificial insemination, and they also allow procedure in doing artificial insemination in cattle to achieve a good result of the process. I do have a bit of knowledge about artificial insemination and its advantages. That's why I can relate to Mr. Molina. The way they breed their cattle has a chance for success in fertilization, and I could say that it is also safe from getting injury unlike the natural process of mating.